All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Ask the Techsperts. This is being presented by Excel and Flourish and Tech Lab. And Tech Lab has been around since 2009, and Excel and Flourish has been around since 2012. So we have several years of experience behind us. What's going to happen this morning is that we're going to have Jennifer start first, and she's going to give us an overview of Office 365. Then we'll have a question and answer time to get any questions answered at a time. You're also welcome to ask any of your questions during the presentation via the chat window. There is a chat feature at the bottom of your screen if you're on a computer. I think on a phone it might be at the top. And so you can click on that, and then you can ask questions as you think of them. We can potentially ask them during the presentation as well if they are if they need to be asked then. Otherwise, we can do it during the question and answer time after each speaker. When Jennifer is finished, then we're going to have Michelle from Tech Lab take over, and she's going to give us some tips for online scams and how to recognize them and what to do to either avoid them or take care of things that way. So my name is Amanda. I have been employed with Tech Lab since 2013, so for 7 years. I am the Director of Operations. And we're glad to have you guys here. So we have Jennifer, who's going to be presenting first, and she is the owner of Excel and Flourish. She has several things with her. She is an Microsoft Office master. She has been doing corporate training for over 20 years and Microsoft training, and she's going to be talking today about the overview of Office 365. So take it away, Jennifer.
Thank you, Amanda. And again, thanks everybody for being here today. We are recording the session, so just as a heads up on that. And let me get my screen ready to share everything with you guys. Can I just get a confirmation that you guys can see what's up on my screen right now?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to remind everybody is how to get to where I'm going to show you. And some of you have been on my tech tips before, so you may have seen this. But here's the thing. The whole reason why this was my starting point for Ask the Techsperts was because a lot of us don't know what we're already paying for with our Office 365 subscription. Or if you do know, because I may have mentioned it at one point, you don't know how you might use it. So I'm going to just put in chat, and you're welcome to go along with me if you can do it, on the screen at the same time. The place where I go to double check on what I have available to me is portal.office.com, and I'll type it up here as well. So again, it's portal.office.com. And that's like your back end. That's like you, as whether you're a corporation or an individual, that's your back end login to your Office 365 subscription. And okay, so let me caveat, if you're still using Microsoft 2013, 2016, you may not be going in through Office 365. This right now is specific to some 365 things. Some of the stuff I cover, though, would still be relevant if you had an earlier version. Okay? But what happened was once Microsoft went to subscription and everything in the cloud, that means that you can access all of these programs from any web browser. Like, remember, some of us are old enough to remember floppy disks, right? Floppy disks that we had to download to get Office, and then we went to CDs or DVDs. Now it's all cloud-based. In fact, with your subscription, you're likely going to see a button here saying Install Office. Most subscriptions are allowing you to download that, bless you, Sue, on, on Office 3, on up to 5 devices. Okay, so when companies went to this, they were super excited because they're like, ooh, we have the whole suite and more. We don't have to worry about all this deployment of going around and downloading this stuff to all the different computers. There's still deployment involved. It's just a different way of deploying. And our people can have it at home as well. So you didn't have that disconnect between what we have at work and what we have at home. It can all be streamlined. So if you get a new computer and you're like, oh, now I got to get Office loaded on, you go to portal.office.com and you click to install Office, and you can download everything, or you can just select particular things to download, but that's the place that you go to do it. So your screen is going to look different than mine because I'm up here demoing this stuff all the time. So I have different things that come up as a regular use. Additionally, each license is going to have different things included in it. So as an example, I actually have a small business license. That allows me to have something called bookings where people can book directly to my calendar. Now there's different tools that you can get depending on your license. I'm not going to dig into all the licensing things. I'm happy to have that conversation offline, but I want to talk about the most general things that you're going to find. The most important thing is to click to all apps. When you get to all apps, you start to see, and I believe the last time I counted, there were 27 different applications associated with most of the Microsoft licenses. I'm going to highlight a couple today, but if you haven't clicked to all apps, the best part is it gives you a little description. When you hover over them, it gives you a little description about how each one of these works. And some of these, if it has the word power in front of it, these are more about connectors. These are more about bringing different tools together. And then you're going to see, of course, your standard things like Excel and Word and Outlook and things like that. Okay. Now, once we've navigated through here, in the upper left-hand corner, the little waffle-looking dude, he is going to be in all of your applications. And when you click to him, that's another way to navigate to your most frequently used applications. And you can go to your all apps here. The application that I want to highlight today is going to be OneDrive. OneDrive is something that is the cloud storage version for Microsoft Office. Okay, so Google Drive comes with the Google suite. OneDrive comes with the Microsoft suite. And the reason why I'm sharing this today, it actually really, my conversation and Michelle's conversation are going to lend well together. They complement each other because I want to talk about how are you sharing your files, okay? And what do you use for file sharing and collaboration? So I am in the online web version of OneDrive, but when you have synced your OneDrive with your file storage on your computer, when you go to open up your file manager, this little guy down here, when you go to pop him open, come on, baby. There we go. I can also get to my OneDrive right here, and you'll see how these completely align. This is my OneDrive for Excel and Flourish. I'm logged into Excel and Flourish here on the web. The best part about this, guys, is it doesn't matter whether you're at your computer, whether you're on your own web, whether you've jumped to a hotel or somewhere else and you need to log in there, you can get all of your files from your OneDrive there. And you can sync OneDrive with your phone. So all of those things, if I'm jumping out to a meeting and somebody's saying, hey, I need you to take a quick look at this file, I can pull up on my phone before that meeting, oh, this is what you want me to look at, and I can do edits right on my phone, all of that. So this gives you all that cloud synchronization and portability. So just for the sake of a demonstration of why we want to look at this online, I want to go to just creating a new Word document right here. Now you can certainly create a new Word document opening Word and doing that, but I really don't think everybody's seen the browser version of Word. And if you've used Google Docs before, it's the same type of thing. As long as you have access to a web browser, you have access to this. You can name the file. And it's going to automatically save as you go. Now, the great part about this is that we can do same-time, real-time collaboration in a file when you're doing it this way. And this by hitting the share button. And we're going to talk about sharing the link to the file. In corporate, I used to be in HR. And when we would make a new policy, I would draft the policy, save it in my OneDrive, and then I would email that file attachment out to all these different people for review. They'd review it, they'd make all their comments and email me back another file, right? Then I'd have to look at all these different files and compare them to say, okay, well now what changes are we actually making and what changes are sticking and things like that. When you're using OneDrive, instead of sending a file attachment, You now have one source of truth and consistency, and you can see everybody's comments. So when you hit share, here are your options. You can set it so anybody with the link, anybody internal, or specific people can have access to the file. And you can set it up for view only by unchecking the allow editing, or check the allow editing, and then they can edit the file. You can also have expiration dates and passwords on the file. So there are secure ways to share your files here. I'm going to send it to a specific person right now. And you can send it as a message. You can also just copy the link. You can have it sent through Outlook, all sorts of things. And that now sends the link. For the sake of demo, I actually wanted to just open that up on my phone and show you what it looks like to have multiple people in here editing the same file. And we'll hopefully have that work. But the goal here, you guys, is that instead of sending files all over the place, and if you've ever seen version 1, version 2, version final, final, no, really, it's final. Because that's the naming convention that would start to happen, and people would really wonder, like, what is going on? So what's great about this is now on my phone, I got an email that says this file is wanting to be shared with you. I know you can't fully see that. That's okay. But all it is a link to that file. It opens up for me in Word on my phone. And as soon as it spins up properly, you're going to see on my screen that now there's another person in the file, right? So that's the best part, is that you can do same time, real time collaboration, or you can have them edit it at different times, but still focusing on the same file. So people can come in, they can select something, they can highlight it, they can review it, they can make comments. You can have all sorts of editing things happening, and you're not worried about all these different final versions. So again, the share option is really where you're going to go to control all of that file sharing and collaboration. And this can be done with Excel, Word, any of those tools, PowerPoint. You just need to be aware of how are you controlling that. And this, when you hit share, looking through all of your options here is how you're going to control that. So I think it's letting me in. Let me see if I can just type something in here really quick. I'm going to hit edit. Edit. It's wondering where it's going to save. It's looking a little funky on my phone right now. But you guys understand the picture. I'm happy to go through any kind of demo like this with you. If you think file sharing like this is going to be useful, the last thing to know then is that it actually saves it right back here into my OneDrive, again, calling testing Techsperts. I'm going to just go by when it was modified, sort that way. And again, we could find it back in my file sharing as well. Here it is. And as these new files come in, they actually wear a little crown showing that they're a more recent file. All right, I think it's perfect timing. I'm going to open it up for questions, and I see Pam just posted a question. The person that you're sharing with does not need to have a subscription. So that's the nice part about having this stuff on the web, is that they don't have to have Word downloaded, and they don't have to have a subscription for it. So they are able to access that. Now, the one thing to know, keep this in mind, just like with Google stuff, you might have to have a Gmail account to access a Google type of thing. And most of us, I think a lot of us do, to access those. The same thing may apply, not necessarily a subscription to Office 365, but you may need to have a way to access it. And so that might be something that needs to be tested, Pam, and I'm certainly happy to look at that further if you want. We can open it up, I think, Amanda, for other questions if anything's come up or people are welcome to ask. Otherwise, again, the goal here was just to give you guys an overview of Office 365 and then to start the conversation about online file sharing versus sending attachments.
I haven't seen any other questions, so if anybody else wants to have any questions, I guess you said the portal.office.com, and then where did you say that you went after that? Can you just do the quick how to get there again?
You bet. So portal.office.com. And then when you go there, originally, you're going to have your condensed list. And the condensed list is just more of the things that you might be using more frequently. Click to all apps, and that expands the whole list. And you'll start to see as you dig in, there's a lot of good content that they're putting out there. So I highly encourage you. You know, this is one of those things of like, you know, you've gotten somewhere and you've gotten a treasure and you don't even really unpack the bag. I really encourage you to find like 15 minutes to go into this treasure and start unpacking the bag, because some of the things that we've talked about in other sessions, I mean, we could spend any amount of time on, but really dig in and to see, you guys are already paying for this stuff. So don't go buy new tech until you're sure that it's not part of your bag already.
Can I ask you a question? So I have some IT people that I occasionally, like they're on retainer and I occasionally need them. And when we had to consider doing remote services through all this pandemic, I said, I need a VPN thing at home. And then he did a song and dance about needing a firewall and the whole thing. And then I asked a secondary question of, do I have to set up some sort of secure portal because my clients send me confidential documents? And then he sent me something I didn't quite understand, which is, no, you don't have to worry about that. You have Microsoft 365 and they're secure, which made me think, because I have Microsoft 365, my email is automatically secure, but I don't really understand that. How is that?
Let's talk through. I think this is actually going to be a great tag team question between me and Tech Lab. So it's a really good question. So one thing I would say, Karen, is that the secure, I'm going to try, Amanda, and then you and Michelle can jump in. My concern is more about stuff being sent via email. Like if I'm filling out paperwork and I'm filling out paperwork that has sensitive information like my social security number on it,
right.
I am not sending that via email. I just don't. I think that's a scary practice. However, if you had a OneDrive folder set up for your clients to shove their documents into, and they literally can drag and drop that stuff into a secure folder that you're sharing, that is a secure level like you would find if you were doing Dropbox or something else like that.
Right. So that's what he was talking about. And I didn't understand, because I said, I need something like Dropbox. And he said, oh, you have that with Office 365. And I guess I just didn't understand how to access that. And maybe we could do that today.
Yeah, we can talk about that offline, Karen, but that's OneDrive. And instead of sharing a file like I did here, I would make a new folder, and I'll just do that real quick here. I'll call it test. And that new folder now, this little button is to share that folder. And you're gonna have the same kind of sharing settings in there of, can they edit stuff or can they only view it? But once you share that folder with your client or anybody who's involved in that particular relationship, now they can just put their files in that folder, and that's a secure storage space.
And the folder is on my cloud or my hard drive?
Or OneDrive, correct. You are the owner.
So it would be in the cloud. It's not in a physical space on your computer. In general, as Jennifer said, sending things through email is not secure. It is not secure to send things like that via email. Now, there are options within Office 365 that can allow you to have secure email sending, and our office has been researching those quite a bit for some of our clients who are in the medical field, in the law field that you're in, Karen, and so there are options within 365 to give you that security, and Michelle can go ahead.
I just want to say that those things aren't automatically set up. I mean, they can be set up, but they're not automatically set up. So yeah, unless you have them set up, I wouldn't be sending any kind of sensitive information.
And it's not just you having them set up. In fact, it's actually you making sure that your clients have them set up, or the people who are sending you stuff. So, and yeah, that's a great point about bringing up the encryption options, but it's not necessarily just about the stuff that's coming to you. And from a liability standpoint, not trying to talk about that to an attorney, but you want to make sure that you aren't putting as part of your process them sending you stuff that then is at risk, and that, you know, if somebody hacked you, that they have all that access to.
And Carrie, in answer to your question, I would do one folder per client because anybody who has access to that folder can see whatever is in that folder. So you would want to make it as secure as possible by having one folder per client, so that only their documents are in the folder and they cannot see others' documents.
I completely agree. All right, I'm gonna put the rest of what we can talk about on this, because we could go on forever on this, on pause, and I think we should probably, Amanda, I'll toss it back to you.
Okay, sounds good. So thank you, Jennifer, for teaching us about OneDrive and some of the options that are available to us. Now we're going to have Michelle from Tech Lab to take over. She's going to be teaching us about tips to be safe online and protect you from online and other types of scams. Michelle has been with Tech Lab for just over a year. She celebrated her anniversary with Tech Lab in March. She is our project coordinator. She also helps in a large variety of capacities through research, development, and she helps me as well with sales and marketing. So we're happy to have Michelle with Tech Lab, and thank you for presenting today. Go ahead, Michelle.
First of all, I want to say, everyone, thank you for coming today. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about scams. We can get scams in so many different ways. These days. Text, email, and phone calls, and more. But today I'm really going to focus on the emails and the phone calls. Because we're working remotely these days, this is pretty much how we're communicating. But you don't have the same ability to make sure that the person on the other side is who they say they are. And when it comes to scams, that's really what we want to make sure, is that the person on the other side is who they say they are. So there's a little bit of audience participation here, so I'm going to have ask you guys to jump in and answer on some particular questions, okay? So as I'm explaining this, let's start off by saying, what do scammers want?
Money.
Yeah, money, yes. Money is a big one. Anything else they can think of?
And actually Bitcoin money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, mostly I feel like they're trying to collect as much of your personal critical information as they can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Social security number, bank card numbers.
Exactly. So the first thing that I want you guys to be on the lookout for is if anybody is asking you for this information via email or on the phone, make sure that they are who they say they are. Okay?
Michelle, how would
we're
you
going to
check
talk about how to do that. But that's what we're going to talk about. But so that's what I want you to be on the lookout for, is if people start asking you for that information. What they're going to ask, they want you to do is give up this information voluntarily. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how they convince people to do this. And the way they do this is through psychology. They want you to just act on what they're saying and not think about it. So they'll oftentimes say it's really scary and it's time sensitive. And they'll put you in a context where you'll feel like, I've paid money like this before and I'm going to pay it again. Sometimes they'll do like hey, if you'll pay this money, then I'm going to give you this. You're going to get this great reward. But so some examples of what that looks like in practice is a phone call from your utility company saying, I'm your utility company and I'm going to turn off your power if you don't pay me. Or the IRS calling up and saying, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't pay me. Or I'm your family member and I'm in trouble and I need money. If there are other ones that you can think of, please throw them in the chat. Because the more that you are aware of these kinds of scams, the more likely you are to recognize a scam and the less likely you are to fall for them. I'm talking specifically in these cases that, yes, exactly, Kathy, the IRS is never going to call you. The only way that they communicate with you is via mail. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about that these are not the actual people calling you. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about how the technology they use to get this information. Sometimes they will ask you to send this information directly to them in an email or ask you for it over the phone. But sometimes they will just send you an email with a link, and this is the link where you pay. Or they might send an attachment and that they want you to click on these attachments. And so when it comes to an attachment, if you open it or download it, it could infect your computer if it is a scam, virus kind of attachment. And depending on what it's doing, it could be just logging what's going on your computer and stealing your information that way, or it could be messing up your computer, or it could be just getting access to your computer to use in like a crime, for example. When it comes to links, sometimes there'll be a login where they're like asking you, put in your Amazon information, right? Put in your Amazon login here so that you can pay for it, or they'll be asking you for your information. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about how do we know if a link is legitimate or not. But the main thing I want you to know is that when you get is to be careful of clicking on links and attachments. I highly recommend that you do not open them if you think they are scams. So now that we know kind of what we're looking for when it comes to a scam email, I'm going to show you an example of a scam email.
While she's pulling that up, we've also got some other comments from people saying, your boss wants to buy you to buy a gift card. I know that we've gotten that one in our office as well. Or our clients say, oh, I need you to buy gift cards. They get verbal. Some of them are swearing in general. There's a lot of pressure they put on you to act fast, act now. And then they also are telling other people in the comments have been saying that I've been watching you on your computer and I'm going to expose all your contacts, or I've got videos from your computer camera and they're going to share them with your network. So those are some other things that they're going to say to you as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So the first thing that this is the scam email that I'm talking about here. But the first thing that I want to show you is that this is in junk. Emails go into junk for a reason. So you want to be careful of emails that go into junk. It's not perfect. Sometimes I have legitimate emails that go into junk. So if you're missing emails and you may want to go into your junk folder just to see if someone's saying, hey, I sent you an email and you're not getting it, it might be in your junk folder. Before we actually open up this email, I want to talk to you guys about what we can see in the subject, what we can see just without opening it up. And that's right here. This is the subject, and this is what we call the display name. So some of you on your email clients might be able to see the actual email address, but I'm not seeing that here. So that's what I'm going to start with. The subject line is where they want to catch your attention. So this is where we're going to be looking for those topics that we talked about. Hey, your credit card has been declined, or your account is overdue, or your inheritance, something like that. You'll also see like misspelling sometimes here. You'll also see caps, because caps really get your attention. Also exclamation points will really get your attention. And sometimes there'll be weird characters because they just want to try and get past the spam filters. And so you'll just see like a stylized E, for example. So the next part is this display name. So the display name can look like whatever the way the scammer wants it to look. This particular scammer wants it to look like it came from the CDC, as you can tell. They will usually try and make the display name match what the subject is. So if it's your credit card has been declined, they might be saying, hey, I'm Amazon, or hey, I'm Netflix. The other thing is it's because they can't make the email address look the way they want it to look, sometimes they'll put a legitimate looking email address in here. So if I see an email address in here instead of a display name that looks normal, that's also a sign that there could be a problem. So the other thing that I want you guys to think about is what triggered an email being sent, okay? Sometimes you'll get your credit card was declined and you know that there is money on your credit card. You know that you typed everything in right when you did it. You know, you got this email from Amazon and you don't even have an Amazon account on that email address. Okay? So if you have not got an Amazon account on that email address, then don't open it. That's scam. Other times you may have an Amazon email address on that account and you'll be like, all right, yeah, I know, I have an Amazon email address on this account, but I didn't do it recently. I didn't pay for anything recently, so therefore it shouldn't be giving me this. It's probably a scam. That being said, instead of opening it, you can also just go to Amazon and check on it. Here's the thing, in these scam emails, what there will often be is some kind of a contact information of saying, okay, this is where I want you to go to pay for your account. And that is when you get hit by the scam, because it's not taking you to legitimate Amazon. It's taking you to a site that they have ownership of, where they're going to steal your information from, whereas they would have a lot more trouble doing that from Amazon. Does that make sense? Okay. So when I look at this particular email, I can see that this is a CDC health alert. I didn't sign up for CDC health alert. So that's my first warning that this is a scam. The other thing is that this is saying it's from the CDC info, National Contact Center. If the CDC was going to be sending me information, not that I think they would, but if I thought they were going to send me information, I don't think it would be from a place that says info. I don't think it would be from a place that says National Contact Center. I think that they would actually type out information if they were the actual CDC, or they might type out Centers for Disease Control or Prevention. So, all right, I think this is sketchy. It's in spam, but we're going to open it up so that we can see some more. Okay, so this is kind of sketchy for, as you can see here, there's a grammar error down here. There's a capitalization error right there. But what I really want to show you guys on this particular email is the link. Okay, you guys see this? It says cdc.gov, right? That looks pretty legit, right? Okay, but it's not actually sending you there. Okay, you can kind of see it there at the bottom of my screen where it says email link.admin alerts, but you can also just right click on it and say copy link location. And I'm just gonna pull up, well, actually I don't think you can see it in there. I don't think you can see that, but I think you'll be able to see this. There. Can you see that?
No.
Long link? No.
But you can see on the bottom from what Michelle was showing us that you just kind of hover over it, you can see the where the location's actually coming from. You don't even have to click it, you can just hover.
Now can you see it?
Yep.
Yep, so that's where it's actually trying to send me. So when I see an email address that it's trying to send me to that does not look like that, that looks not like that cdc.gov, but looks like this instead, that's a red flag right there for me. So, because the cdc.gov one is an actual, it literally is a legitimate place. It is a legitimate website. But that email link.admin alerts is not. So what you can do is you can just copy this particular link right here. They can make that look, people can make that look like whatever they want it to. But if you get something like this, you can always copy this literally into it, and literally into your email browser or into your internet browser and paste it if you think it's probably legit. The other thing you want to be careful of when you're clicking on links is it actually the way it's supposed to look? Okay, this says cdc.gov, right? And we know that the CDC is the Center for Disease Control, so it should say cdc.gov. Now, if it said cde.gov/coronavirus and all this, that'd be a different site. And that wouldn't be the one that we want to go to either. So that's another thing to be careful of.
So Michelle, we've had the question come in of, hey, I'm clicking through my emails. I accidentally opened it just like you did. Am I still okay as long as I didn't click on the actual link?
You should be, yeah.
Yes, I would agree with that as well. So if you're clicking on the computer and you're just kind of going quickly through your emails and you're like, oh no, I clicked on one that was probably a scam, you should be fine as long as you don't click on the link itself. Go ahead and delete it, mark it as spam. That's totally fine. You shouldn't be infected that way just by opening the email itself. I mean, they may have some tracking within it, but in general, you should not infect your computer. It's only when you actually click on their link or actually pay them money, that's when the infections start happening. So, and Michelle was also going to mention too that looking at, and Liz had mentioned this in our chat, that you want to look at the email address as well as the contents of the message. You want to look at who it's coming from. And as Michelle kind of mentioned, this is coming from admin-alerts.com instead of the cdc.gov. And so thanks for highlighting that, Michelle. So you do want to make sure that it's from a legitimate source. I have recently in the last couple weeks been in contact with somebody who has gotten scammed or has gotten hacked. And their email opens up and it's like a phrase like, oh, for you, and then it has a link. But what I noticed right away was their email address was not the same. It was not the right person. So you do want to make sure that you're checking who the email is from and what email address it says, not just their name, because her name was correct, but the address that it was sending from was wrong.
The one thing that you also want to take a look at is, does it look like it's being sent from the people that it actually, yeah, exactly. You also want to look at the people, does it look like it's coming from the people that it actually says it's coming from? Kathy just brought this up as a really great point in the chat of her work is never going to send her emails at 3 o'clock in the morning. So therefore, if she gets an email that says it's from work and it's 3 o'clock in the morning, that's not work. And the same is true. And I'm going to say, and I want to say this because people get hacked sometimes, just like Amanda was saying. Your friend might get hacked and they like just want you to click on something, so they might send you this link. And so your friend might send you this link, and it's not actually your friend. This is one's really hard to like watch out for. I know so many people who've clicked on that link just because it's coming from their friend, but you can kind of tell, like, usually when people send you an email, they don't just send you a link. They say, hey, this is what link is about. You may want to look at it. All right. So the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, all right, I clicked on this link. I opened the attachment I shouldn't have done. Now what? All right. What you do is, the first question is what did you put in? Because what you put in is going to depend on, or is going to make a difference as to what you're going to do next. If you put in your credit card information, then probably the first thing you're going to do is call up your bank and say, hey, look, I need a new credit card. You know what, cancel the credit card I've got. If you put in your social security number, you're probably gonna get in contact with the credit bureaus just to get yourself fixed up. You might be in contact with your identity theft people if you have some of those. You may contact the police just to let them know that there's this going on. The one thing that I would tell you very carefully to do is, when you are making these calls and things like that, is use contact information that you have gotten yourself, not that's in these things, not that's in these emails that you're getting, not that's in the phone call that you're getting, and do it from a different device, okay? Well, now that you've clicked on it, it's possible that your computer's infected. So if you're calling and not using the not using the computer where you got your you got this email from, you should be safe. You'll also want to run a computer scan once you've to make sure that your computer is okay. And if you've given out your password, you may want to change your password. All right, that's all I've got for you guys today. Do you guys have any questions?
Michelle, a question has come through the chat. They want to know if it's okay to shut it down right away.
The computer?
Yes.
I would say so, yeah. That would be a good thing to do.
Especially if you know that someone has either you're talking to them on the phone and they did pressure you into getting into their computer. The best thing to do is to end that connection, which means turning off your computer. That's usually what we tell our clients when they do call us and they do say, oh, I did do this. We're saying shut down your computer immediately, because if they have access to your computer, they're just going to continue to spread things within your computer. So yes, it is okay to shut it down right away. The same thing is true if you go on a website and your website starts beeping at you, because I've seen and heard that before too. We did a presentation once and one of the participants' computer started beeping and she didn't do anything bad, but it was like alert, alert. So that's definitely a good thing to just shut your computer down. So yeah, you can shut it down. I saw some other question that came through. It is definitely good to change your passwords, as Michelle said as well. So if you know that your Google got hacked, go ahead and change your Google password. Or if someone says, hey, I got a spam email from you, then go ahead and the first thing you should do is change your Google password. If you're using that password for other things, I would probably change that password in other locations as well so that they can't have access to that password. If you do shut your computer down, you would also need to hang up with the scammer as well. So if you're on the phone with the scammer and he's in your computer, you can hard shut down your computer, which means pressing the power button and holding it until it shuts down. And then you would just hang up with the scammer. After that, you would need to have someone help you run scans on your computer and make sure that all the infections and virus that they got in are gone. But yeah, I would just hang up with him as soon as you realize it's a scammer. And then after that, call somebody like TechLab, like your IT provider, so that you can be like, hey, unfortunately, you need to admit what happened, but admitting what happened is going to help us be able to solve your problem. So then, hey, I got scammed on the phone. He got into my computer. We'll start asking you questions like, how long was he on? What exactly did he do? Where did they go? So kind of take note of those kinds of things too, if you do answer and get pressured into this. Yeah, if your computer seems slow after that, that is when you would need to have a person check it, run the scans as I mentioned, and trying to think what other things have come through here. Liz mentioned the IT security department. Yeah, same thing. Either if you work with a company that has an IT security department, you need to tell them. If your company doesn't have that, then you need to call a third-party source like TechLab would be. I think I heard somebody try to ask a question. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I just was looking at and seeing Kathy had asked, what about Facebook Messenger and hacks? That's been really prevalent. So what I would say is that the first thing is that you can, if you're worried about your personal account being hacked, there's some settings that you can go through in your Facebook. And we can talk about that either in a future one or maybe after this, if you want to stay after, on how to get like other people about security settings on your Facebook account if you think someone's in there. But the main thing is just change your password.
Does anyone have any other questions? Otherwise, we want to respect your time too and kind of work to wrap things up. What you guys have up on your computer now, you should see a poll in front of you. We're taking a poll to see what kind of topics you guys are most interested in doing for the future. So you can go ahead and you can answer the poll, just choose your selections. And we plan to work on those through yes, this is gonna be a series. We plan to do this once a week through the month of May. What we're planning, our next one is gonna be May 6th at 2 p.m. and then May 14th at 10 a.m. So we're trying to do like mornings and afternoons to hit different audience and people. So you can add those to your calendar. Those are, as I said, the poll in front of you shows you some different ideas that we had, but we are also open to other ideas as well. We have a bit.ly available, and there it is. It's on your screen. If you have any questions for us that you want us to address, if you hit the Ask the Techsperts bit.ly, and we can make sure it's in the chat as well, then you can click on that in a browser, and you can give us your suggestions and feedback, and we'll use that to develop our future sessions. We want to thank you guys so much for coming and helping us, and we hope that you learned something valuable today. It was awesome to spend time with you, and on behalf of Excel and Flourish and Tech Lab, thank you guys so much.
And we're happy to hang out. If you guys, we can stop the recording and stop our sharing, and I mean, we've budgeted some extra time in our calendar that if people have specific questions, we can hang out for a few more minutes and certainly answer anything based on the content that we had today.
We plan it looks like the polls, a lot of people are interested in how do I know I've been hacked? And so we'll probably focus that on one of the next ones. And then I think we'll kind of figure out beyond that what else we're going to be planning to do for topics.
Yep, perfect. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. I think we've got everything out there. We've been putting invitations out to all of our places that we're members of. So, but because you guys got in today, you'll get notified of upcoming sessions. We'll just send an email out as a reminder. And once we know where the recording's going to land, I don't know where we're actually going to land it right now, we'll send that out for you guys as well, so you can see that.
I have a question, Jennifer.
Yeah, please.
This is like really basic 101.
Yeah.
You talked about you can get the Office apps on your phone.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, so do I go to the Google Store for that?
You do.
Okay.
And the recommendation that I have for that right now, it used to be that I would download each app individually. So I literally have links for OneDrive and Planner and Excel and Outlook and all of that on my Microsoft folder on my phone. But they've just recently launched an integrated link. So instead of doing each one individually, try just looking at the Office app in the Google Play Store. And literally, it should be all the stuff. Like, again, I don't know if you can kind of see it. I'm trying to get the glare off. Let me turn the light off here quick. Hold on. Like literally when I go into my Office app, it gives me all of these options right now to dig in, which is pretty great. Like I think it takes up less power, and it's fully integrated. Again, just the main thing with any of that, you guys, is like I have multiple accounts. So I have like my Hotmail account from 20 some years ago that still has a lot of my old personal stuff. And then I have my business stuff. All of these things that are happening on the cloud are going to be account based. So whatever you're logging in with is the account that you're in. And unless you've shared stuff with both, like you have to be aware of, oh, I'm going to be in my personal account right now, or I'm going to be in my business account. Just something to be aware of if that's an issue for you.
So then if I was to do that whole massive thing, because I already have Outlook on my phone.
Yep. Okay.
So if I do the massive thing, is that going to duplicate that then, or it's just going to recognize that it's already on my phone? Do you know?
It's not. Yeah, it won't overwrite anything, and it definitely will get. It's not going to take up extra space that way. It's really meant to be like an integrated platform versus all the separate applications.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Anybody else? All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad this was helpful, and please feel free to encourage anybody else just sending those links out. Encourage anybody else that you think should be here. That would be great.